Good morning. Happy Sunday, everybody. You know, I always think I've got this position just right, and then I get on here and I'm like, not so much. Good morning. Happy Sunday. Okay, I'm going to get right into it. You know, I'm always on that clock. I'm going to get right into it, okay? I feel like we're going to be at Karen Church today, okay? This is going to be your Sunday morning meeting. Hey, Michelle. Hey, Amber. Hey, Angie. Hey, Noella. This is going to be, we're going to have Sunday morning church right here in New Jersey, okay? So, what I want to talk about today is teacher or student, okay? Good morning. Chris, everybody, so happy to see you. Anita's here. Jan, everybody. Man, I am on fire this morning. I have clients today very soon, and I want to apologize ahead of time if you hear a loud scraping noise. There has been a plow guy out in the hotel parking lot who has literally, good morning, Jan, who has literally, Tammy, hey, who has literally been plowing, I think, since like midnight. The parking lot's not that big. If you have come here for a session, you know the parking lot's not that big. This guy has been plowing nonstop. It's like nails on a chalkboard, can I just say. He's literally, at this point, I think he's scraping up the tar. I'm not sure. I know he's trying to clean it up because the sun is out, but man, it feels like he's plowing like the walkway out in front of my room. Like, I know I'm super sensitive to sound, but man, I just want to go out there and pummel him. That's the truth. Anyway. So, I didn't come on here to talk about the plow guy, did I? I don't know what you guys got in, good morning, Sarah. Good morning, Tammy. I don't know what you guys got in New Hampshire, but I bet there's a foot of snow that dropped last night out there. And I'm pretty sure all of the foot of snow dropped while I was doing an event last night. I got there and the roads were clear, maybe a dusting, but it was coming down. When I left, approximately 3 hours later, there was like a foot of snow. And the Uber guy was like, thanks, Noelle. And the Uber guy was like, I swear to God, he was testing my faith he was testing my faith that I was going to make it back to the hotel room, okay? Like, white knuckled, it was awful. But I made it, so I'm sure there is sunshine in Florida, Angie. All right, so let's get started. So in doing my meditation and my reading and my cards this morning, I really felt led to talk about teacher or student, okay? This is something that, you know, when I'm doing my work, when people are messaging me or texting me or whatever, that when I'm doing this work, it's something that that I need to address, okay? And so today, I've been thinking about it all week, but today during my meditation, it really came in strong. So here I am addressing it, teacher or student. So right out of the gate, what do you feel? Do you feel you're a teacher or student? Do you feel like you can be both? Of course you can be both. You can be the teacher sometimes and the student. If you're a mom, you're a teacher to your kids. But then you might be a student, God forbid, to something your husband says, okay? Or your boss or something like that. You can be both, okay? As a matter of fact, we all came here with something to teach somebody else. We all came here with gifts, you know? You're gifted, you're gifted, I'm gifted, everybody's gifted. It's what you choose to do with it, okay? You know, there's a saying, I don't know if it comes out of the Bible or not, you know me, I was only raised in a church, but I don't remember. Be in the world, not of it, okay? So don't watch it pass by you. Participate, okay? Whether you're teaching or learning. You gotta be in one of those modes, okay? You gotta be a teacher, you gotta be a student, okay? You didn't come here, as they said in The Secret, to just be this meat suit walking around. You are spirit in human form, okay? So, until you can open your eyes to see what is the lesson in something, you're going to stay stuck, okay? So that's where you become the student. You don't know everything. I don't know everything. I don't know anything. You know, I know very limited amount. You know, what is that saying? We use like 5% of our brain. Some days I think I'm using like 2%. But fortunately, I'm blessed that like I can do things that I don't have to use my brain for. I just use my my inner guidance, my intuition. So, how many of you feel like you're getting stuck? Okay, and I'm asking that question because I see you. Okay, those of you who I do follow on Facebook, and a lot of people when they friend request me, I don't follow them because they're either clients or potential clients, and I don't want to know what's going on in their world. But many of you, I see the negativity popping up. I see the victim. I see the this is happening to me. This is happening to me. Let me just talk a little bit about that. Do you believe that in everything that happens, there is a lesson? So is something happening to you, or are you being taught? Are you being a student, or are you out in the hallway in detention, ignoring what's going on in the classroom? And until you can get inside that classroom and listen to what's going on inside and stop getting in detention and sent out in the hallway, you're going to miss the lesson, and that lesson's going to pass you by. Let me tell you a little example, and this was something that came through again in my meditation this morning. For those of you who know me, I have struggled all my life with why God or Source or whoever the higher power is there that's in control of living and not living. Since I was 5 years old, this isn't going to be easy. I have struggled with why would a God, why would a being who brings all this amazingness to us, why would a higher power take a 5-year-old's mother away? What is the lesson in that? I was 5. What did I need to learn? I've struggled with that all my life. I come from a family of teachers, guys, a family of teachers. And I believe deep down that's how I got to be. I know I have spiritually that I can teach, but the ability to teach others, it's in my blood. Both my parents were teachers. I didn't know my mother to be a teacher. I just knew her to be sick. But what being, what light, what superpower takes a child's mother away, okay? And it wasn't just me. My brother was 3, my sister was 8, and my older brother was 9. So ages 3 to 9, and our mother's gone at age 37. So I struggled, in my formidable years, in my, when I was having children and getting married 6 or 7 times, I didn't know what to do. I had no mother, and my mother was never replaced. There was not a stepmother. When I was 16, my father decided to marry somebody who filled the position of wife. There's another area of forgiveness that I've gone into. I wrote a bunch of things down that I want to talk about, but I'm coming from the heart and the soul right now, you guys. So let me just tell you, okay. I thought that God was bad. I thought that higher power was bad. I thought Source, whatever you call it, your higher power, bad. You don't take a child's mother from them. What did I do? Why was that done to me? But the lesson, you guys, here, and I refused to become the student. I knew everything. Our higher power is mean, teaches us lessons, this holy thing. What is that? How can that person take a child's mother away? And I struggled with that, and I stayed stuck. It happened to me. But I'm here to tell you guys, this has been I'm 54 years old. This has been a long, hard lesson, okay? And I think I'm forever teachable on this one. My mother, being taken away, taught me, didn't teach me how to be a mother. I had nobody to follow. But what it did teach me is how to handle situations that are thrown your way that suck. That sucked. It did suck. I mean, there's no way around it. That sucked. And I'm not here to be a victim. I'm here to talk about the lesson that came out of that. We are in Karen Church this morning. So, when I was... See, if our teaching doesn't bring us to tears, we're not teaching from the heart, okay? So I'm going to stay in control because the face is already on for sessions. However, I struggled during my meditation getting ready to talk about this. And many of you know this story, but I want to talk to you from a different point of view with this. When my child's father was 37, same age as my mother, he too passed away, leaving me with the same amount of children as my mother left. And I said, son of a bitch, history does repeat itself. And I got into victim mode. I got sick. I ended up having a hysterectomy, like everything, you guys. I manifested blackness. I manifested not being able to get out of bed. I manifested not being teachable. I know everything about death. I know this. I know that. This can't be happening. This isn't fair. And I refuse to be a student and see the lesson in that. But you see, it takes me back to when I was 5. Because if you've already done the math, the lesson I learned when I was 5, I learned from the child point of view. And so with that lesson that I learned from my mother being taken away from me, I learned how to raise my children with their father being taken away from them. It was not pleasant when I was young. My father was a full-time minister with his own church. So you know what that means. 2 services on Sunday, prayer meeting on Wednesday, Bible study on Friday, men's meeting on Tuesday. And I'm not lying, you guys. I literally just quoted everything. Every now and again, we'd have something on Thursday. He was not present. Aside from being a full-time minister, he was a full-time English professor at Northern Essex Community College in Haverhill, Mass. He was busy. I don't resent that, but I learned, okay? I wasn't the student. Trust me, when I was younger, I wasn't the student. But when I realized that bumping up against that all the time was keeping me stuck, I said, okay, where's the lesson in this? Where's the lesson in not fending for ourselves? It wasn't like that. He hired somebody to come in and take care of us and do the grocery shopping and all this. God bless her. That woman, I don't know how she did it with the 4 of us. But that didn't happen to me. It happened for me because what I learned, because I didn't even know my mother. I didn't even know my mother. I didn't know how she passed. I literally, until I got her death certificate when I started having kids and really delved into who she was and how she passed, I didn't know what she passed from. All those years, I didn't know what she passed from because we weren't allowed to talk about it. When the father of my children passed, and they were about the same ages, as the 4 of us when our mother passed, I knew exactly what not to do. So there's the lesson. I learned it when I was 5. It was there when I was 5. And as I was growing up, but I refused to get into student mode. I know everything about being a motherless child. I know this, I know that. I wouldn't get into student mode. And then once I got into student mode and then Brian was taken from my kids, I realized that I could teach my children. I came out of student mode and I taught my children how to deal with grief, how to deal with the loss of a parent, how to grieve themselves. I taught my kids that 24/7, if you need to wake me up out of a sound sleep because there's something that's haunting you about your dad or something you want to know about your dad, even till this day, wake me up, call me, whatever. If there's something you need to know about your dad because you don't remember, that's the lesson I learned when I was young. Huge lesson. That's just an example, okay? That's reality. Don't stay stuck, guys. Don't stay in the victim mode. There's nothing to be learned there. There's nothing to be learned in the classroom of victimization. Nothing. Nothing. You will learn, I promise you, and I promise you because I know this, you will learn nothing when you stay in that classroom. It's dark. There's no windows. There's a bunch of other people there. And oh, it feels comfortable for the minute. Doesn't it feel comfortable when somebody's saying, oh, you poor thing. No, Mom, you poor thing. It doesn't teach me a goddamn thing. It doesn't. It feels comfortable at the time, but at that point I've learned nothing, okay? Get out of the victim classroom. There's no light there. The windows are closed, the blinds are down. There's no light there. So, I did have notes that I wanted to talk about today, but I figured I'd start off with that example because I don't, for one second, think I need to prove myself to you guys, because a lot of you know that I've learned a lot of hard lessons, and I could go on for days, guys, about lessons. But it was brought to my attention yesterday. I knew that this live was coming. I just didn't know when it was going to be ready. Yesterday, I had a client sit right there in that chair. And by the way, if you can hear that music, squirrel, you knew I couldn't get through this without a squirrel. If you can hear that music, I'm literally playing Attracting Abundance. So anybody who's taken in that music, if you can hear it, we're attracting abundance while we're talking. Okay. So yesterday I had a client sit right there in that chair. She had lost her husband at the young age of 51, I believe, or 50, just a few months ago. Medical malpractice. And he came in and he talked to her about it, because when you are a person put in a situation of medical malpractice, which is what I was when my kid's dad died, it's an uncomfortable place to be, because you know in your mind that money is not going to bring that person back. I knew in my mind that money was not going to bring my kid's dad back. But I also knew in my mind that somebody else needed to learn a lesson besides me and my children. I had to get right with the medical malpractice that followed his death. It took me 2.5 years to get there. But what I learned from that was that money doesn't bring people back. It doesn't buy happiness, although as Les Brown says, it sure does make it better. I don't argue that. I mean, who doesn't want to travel? You need money to travel, right? However, it was our job, myself and my children, to see that this never happened to another person. And what did I learn from that? Okay, so again, I was the student, I went in there humble, and I'm just like, this is for the kids. And no, it's not going to bring their dad back, but it needs to be done. I didn't want to be the student. I didn't want to do that. I did not want to do that. And all these years I've said, why was I the student there? What was the lesson there? What was the lesson there? All these years, I mean, we're talking 16 years of not knowing what the lesson was in that. Yesterday, a woman sat here, almost identical situation to how my kid's dad passed away. Her husband was bringing the information through, and I said, he says for you to stand your ground, and he says for you to get with an attorney. And she was just so broken up. She's like, it won't bring him back. And I said, I know that. But there's a student out there that needs a lesson. And if that lesson isn't taught, his death, your husband's death, will be in vain. And there's a lesson. I learned it way back 15, 16 years ago. I learned that lesson. I didn't know I was learning a lesson at the time. But I knew one day I would be able to deliver my experience with going through all that to somebody. And she sat here yesterday, and I was able to be the teacher in that situation. I came out of student mode, and I was able to be the teacher. And you guys, that is empowering. So when you go through day to day, decide in everything that happens, not to you, but for you, is this a lesson for me? And if it's a lesson, am I going to be able to teach it to somebody else? You cannot be anything other than a teacher or a student. day to day. You didn't come here just to exist. Does it feel uncomfortable? Absolutely. Some of your biggest lessons feel uncomfortable, but guess what? You get to turn around and be the teacher and teach that to somebody else, right? Right. Do I hear it all over the room? Amen. Thumbs up. Is everybody still there? Thumbs up, you guys. To be a teacher, you have to have something somebody else needs. If you are refusing to learn, there's a thumb. If you are refusing to learn a lesson, you're not going to have anything to give anybody else, okay? Get out of victim mode. Get out of that victim classroom. Many times I get, what is that light? Oh, it's the sun. I was like, why am I turning white? Is there a ghost? I'm going to wrap it up in a few. Many people message me every day. Many. Probably 25. And I'm not exaggerating. Probably 25 people message me on the daily. There's two kinds of messages. What do? I need you to help me with this. To which I used to say, okay, whatever you need. Now I say, I think you need a session. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why, you guys. Because what's happening is that people message me and they want something fixed in 1 second. They want me to say something that makes them comfortable. They want me to put a Band-Aid on something that hurts really, really, really bad. Fix it. Fix me. I know you've only got 5 minutes, but fix me. Guys, the repair doesn't come with the Band-Aid. I could absolutely put a Band-Aid on what's hurting you, or we can sit down and I can teach you not teach you a lesson, that sounds horrible. Yeah, I can be a teacher. Okay? When that question comes to me, and the minute, I'm not saying any of you do this or any, half the people that message me, you guys don't even know. They're not on the lives, you don't even know. They might have seen my name somewhere and they're looking for basically free advice, which I don't, I've gotten to a point where Spirit told me to start setting boundaries about that. And I have to. If I'm spending 30 minutes a day helping 25 people, you do the math. Okay. All right. So, where was I? Oh, okay. So, to these people, and I'm not saying, like I said, I repeat, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the people who are not on here, because why? They don't want to learn. They just want those Band-Aids. They want the Band-Aids. And I've got Band-Aids. I've got Snoopy Band-Aids. I've got Mickey Band-Aids. I have got every kind of Band-Aid. I can pull a one phrase out of my head and say it to you, and you're going to feel comfy and cozy and all wrapped up in the blanket, and you're going to get to cocoon. But guess what? When you take that freaking blanket back off, that pain is still going to be there. Newsflash, the pain is still going to be there. So my Band-Aid, my Snoopy Band-Aid, or my He-Man Band-Aid that I might have, it's only going to get you comfortable for 1 second, I promise you. And I got those lines. I'm not kidding. I've got those. I've got those all day long. They're in here. You say something, I'll say something back. And guess what? That's your Band-Aid. You've got your Band-Aid. But if you want the lesson, if you want to learn something so you can turn around and teach it to somebody else, then you need to listen. And here's the phrase that doesn't fit into listening, okay? And I don't usually come in from the negative, and hopefully somebody's going to see this who needs it, okay? Because I know you guys are my amazing students, but hopefully somebody's going to see this that's going to need it. When I give you an answer, and I'm speaking about myself right now because this is my situation. I'm not saying I'm the only teacher in the world, but I'm saying my personal situation. And I'm sharing my personal experiences because that's all I know. I don't know your experience. I don't know another medium's experience. When I give you my response to your situation, knowing that I'm just Band-Aiding it, and your response is, and again, not you guys, and the person's response is, I know, but I'm done teaching, okay? Because you don't know. Because if you knew, you wouldn't be asking the question. So if you come into a situation where you want to have help, answering the help that comes to you, and again, you guys, that's why I want you to share this, because somebody's going to hear it that needs it. When you say to me, I know, but, we're done talking. Guess why? Because you just became the teacher. You don't know. Because if you knew, it would be fixed, okay? I know, but. You're not in a learning, accepting, sponge-like state of mind when that phrase comes out of your mouth. And if you want to type it and erase it right after I see it, fine. But it's a quick example of how some people don't want to be teachable. They want to be the teacher. They want to be like, oh, I hear what you say, but here's my objection to it. Okay, lesson's over. Imagine if a teacher was standing in front of a classroom and every time they started a lesson on the chalkboard, 10 of the students stood up and said, I know, but. There'd be no lesson. The teacher wouldn't be able to teach. There would be no lesson. You're either the teacher or you're the student. You can be both, and I highly recommend that you be both. When you're the student, take your lesson, and eventually you'll be the teacher. And like for me, with the malpractice thing, 16 years later, I'm teaching it, you know? But I had to go through it to be able to teach it. Be grateful for your lessons, right? Don't be angry, be grateful, because somewhere it's going to come in and help somebody else. Negativity. I want to talk about real quick. I know, I was only going to go 20 minutes. Negativity. And I say this a lot. I want nobody to be negative. Do I go to negative town every now and again? Sure. I take the bus in and I quickly Uber out. It's human. We're human, right? I'm so far from being an angel, you guys don't even know. I'm going to say this, and this is going to sting. You are the product, and many of you have heard me say this before because you are my students. You are the product of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Think about that. If you heard me say nothing else today, think about that. You are the product. So get your pen and paper, write down the 5 people you spend the most time with. And if you're stuck, I bet you're going to find out where you're stuck. Put an asterisk next to the one that's keeping you stuck. And not that they have that power over you, but there's something about their energy or their lack of being a student that is not healthy for you. Okay? If you're stuck, look at the 5 people you spend the most time with. And granted, if it's a spouse or partner, I get it. You kind of have to be around them. But what you choose to absorb is your choice, okay? You can put that bubble up and let their words come at you and bounce off. And I get it. They're your spouse. You have to, or your partner. You have to be around them. But if they're serving up so much negativity, you need to rethink that relationship, and I'm not playing. I am not playing. You come and sit in that seat and you tell me that you can't stand the negativity of this person. You can't stand the energy of this person. He or she was not like this when you got together. Well, guess what? He or she is like that now, and I'm going to recommend that you either, both of you, get some sort of situational guidance, or that maybe it's time to terminate that connection to that person. And you're not going to like to hear that. That's going to sting for a second, because you're going to go into fear mode. You're either going to fuck everything and run, or you're going to deal with it. And what's the other thing? I don't even remember. That's the only one I ever remember. Fuck everything and run. It's because I can drop the F-bomb when I say it. But you will go into fear mode and be like, oh my God, I'd never have enough money. Oh my God, what about the kids? Guys, if you're surrounding yourself with negativity, guess where you're going to be? You're going to stay in negative town. I promise you. You are the product of the top 5 people you spend the most time with. Write it down. Make a list. That's your homework for today, guys. I don't come on here just to talk. I promise you. Sometimes we goof off and we have fun, but sometimes there's something somebody out there needs to hear. I don't recommend that you share it because I want the world to see my face. I recommend that you share it because there's somebody outside of this circle. We have a very small circle. We probably have 10 people on. There's somebody outside of this circle who needs this lesson as well. Okay? In everything, there's a lesson. Face everything and rise. Lisa, I like the other one, but that's a good one. In everything, there's a lesson. If you don't believe that, you need to come back to Karen Classroom, because I will tell you that every single day of your life. My father was a teacher every Sunday, twice on Sunday, Wednesday, Friday, Tuesday night men's whatever day prayer breakfast was. My father was a teacher to many, many, many students. He taught throughout the country. He taught the Word of God. My father was also a teacher because he was an English professor full-time. Many, many, many years. Missed one day. He taught for, I don't even know, 50 years. English professor at a Massachusetts college. He spent his lifetime teaching. And this is going to be really raw, you guys. What did he teach me? I sat in meditation this morning after my meditation, and I really can't think of anything. How's that for a stinger? You know, I talk to people every day. I meet with clients every day, and they say, my dad taught me everything I know. My dad taught me everything I know. That's a stinger. I'm sure he taught me something. He probably taught me something. Because in everything that happened to me, happened for me. In other words, his not being there, and I am not a victim. I am not a victim. There was a lesson in that. His not being there for his family taught me some of the biggest lessons I think that I've learned and that I can share with you. Okay. He was a teacher to me without knowing he was a teacher. I tried to remember. I don't remember much around the time that my mother died, so I tried to remember if he taught me to ride a bike, and I don't think he did. I think my older brother did. I was really trying. But just being in the classroom of being his daughter, just being in that classroom taught me a lot of things. Did he teach him with intention? No. But him being my father and being the person that I looked up to taught me a lot of things. Okay? So it's time to get out of victim mode and figure out what you learned out of each experience in your life. I've kind of been catching some of your comments about being a teacher. So I just want to tell you this. I know teaching is what I'm supposed to do, even if it's through my mediumship. My spiritual advisor sessions or package of sessions, I don't think you can be taught in 1 hour. If it's something you're led to do, then do it. I don't really advertise that piece because people know when they need that part of assistance. Some people just want to talk to dead people, which is great. I didn't realize until today, well, actually, it's been you guys. It's been the things that you guys have been sending me on private messages. It's been the emails that I've been getting. The past week I've been so blessed with validation, confirmation, and explanation of why I'm here. I know I'm here to be a medium. I get it. But it's not enough for me. It's not satisfying enough for me. So I come on here and I teach you, and I hope that you share it so it spreads the word to somebody else. I come from a family of teachers. Could I be a school teacher? Probably so. Do I know reading, writing, and arithmetic backwards and forwards? Absolutely. When I was 13, I used to correct the papers for my father's English students in, he taught English as a second language, he taught Shakespeare, he taught Bible is Lit, he taught Hebrew in the college. And so I used to, his English as a second language and his English Lit classes, I used to correct his papers. So I get that. The punctuation, I'll be the first to jump on you if you're using there in the wrong form. I'll be the first to jump on you if you're using your or your in the wrong form. But, so that's a knowledge that I have. Yeah, could I be a teacher? Sure. Yeah, my father was a teacher. Like I said, 2 full-time jobs teacher. My mother was a teacher. She taught elementary school. I don't remember it, but I remember going into elementary school because she passed when I was 5, so then came first grade, and I remember going into that elementary school, and I used to envision my mother teaching in the school. It was really fun. It was fun. This is a good memory. And I used to, because she'd fill in for the principal when she wasn't, the principal was a woman. When the principal wasn't there, my mother was the assistant principal. And my mother used to fill in for her. So I'd walk by the office because I was never in the office. I never got called to the office. I never got sent to the office. Are you kidding me? Do you see this halo? But I'd be in the office or walk past the office, and I used to envision my mother sitting in there. And you know what? Knowing now if I knew then what I knew now, what I know now, or knowing now what happened then, I probably was seeing a vision of her sitting there, which is really cool when you think about it. But my mother was an elementary teacher. My oldest brother, who has since passed several years ago, was a master carpenter, and he taught other carpenters. My sister, I don't know about her. I think she was dropped on her head. She went to school to teach little kids, I think. And now she teaches alcohol and substance abuse, or not, how not to. I should say she doesn't teach it. She teaches how not to. But guess where she learned that? Yeah, she had to go to school to get some sort of certification or whatever. Now that she's a grown-up, she decided to get smarter. No, she's really smart. She's just not street smart. This if you've ever seen my post about my sister, she's a nut job. But how did she learn to teach alcohol and substance abuse? Because we had 2 brothers they abused alcohol and substances. As you know, one of them passed. So those lessons, whether she accepted it or not, she wouldn't, because she doesn't vibrate where I vibrate, but those lessons were taught to her about alcohol, and her best lessons were taught to her during our childhood when our brother was running himself into a telephone pole trying to kill himself because he was so drunk. Those were where she learned her best lesson. She'll never admit it. So my sister is a teacher. My younger brother has owned his own auto body shop and car sales since he was 18, and he taught many, many, many people the art of auto body work. Since then, he has, most of you know, he's lost his eyesight. So now it's time for him to learn some lessons. It's time for him to be a student because he can't teach anymore. That's how I'm a teacher. I'm blessed. I'm blessed spiritually that I get to teach people, you guys, whoever gets this lesson, but I'm also blessed that it comes in down through my blood, and that I have the ability. I want to teach more, you guys, so I'm putting it out there. Many, many people say that they get a lot out of these lives, and I just come on here to play. I just come on here to maybe make something sting, or I just come on here to say really harsh things. Or I just come on here to just joke with you guys. But I do come on here in hopes that I share something. In hopes that I share something that actually gets down to the core. And if you don't learn it this time, you might learn it next time. All right, you guys, I'm going to go. I actually was on like 40 minutes. I wanted to be on 20, but you know me when I get going. And I never even got through all my notes that I got during meditation and after meditation. But be teachable, guys. Be a student so you can turn around and be a teacher. That's all, okay? That's the lesson here, okay? And don't forget your homework. Write down the people you spend, the 5 top people you spend your most time with, and figure out if that's who you need to be around, okay? All right, you guys, I adore you. I do have to go. I have to take in some sustenance before I meet with clients at 11, and I may see you tonight. I don't have a group tonight. I may see you tonight. I'm not sure. So stay tuned, you guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging in for 40 minutes on what was supposed to be 20 minutes. I adore you all. Thanks for being teachable. Thanks for being humble. I am humbled by you guys being humbled. I am humbled by your messages you're sending. I am humbled by the gifts, you guys with the gifts. I mean, I'm like lining them up. It feels like home in here. I am humbled by the emails that I am receiving. And I love to share them with you guys because it helps people who are fearful of coming in, right? All right. I will talk to you all soon. Thank you.